Hey guys, thank you guys so much for clicking on my Freedom Code Sales Mastery course. This is designed to help health insurance agents master sales, prospecting, closing, and then obviously keeping people on the books, and of course referrals as well. By the end of this 7-module course, you're going to be able to scale your book of business, convert more leads, and make sure you have people on your books that are actually sticking. In the next upcoming slides, we'll cover things like sales psychology and mindset, effective appointment setting strategies, CRM management and automating that follow-up system, closing strategies, and of course, handling those objections that are, again, getting you maybe hung up on within the first 30 seconds of the call. In addition, we'll touch on referrals and retention to make sure that that pipeline growth is consistent and is developing over time. Now, before we get into it, guys, again, I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I hope this, guys, helps you out. We'll attach one, covers sales psychology and mindset. This was super big one, top producer mindset versus an average producer mindset. Now, have you guys ever thought to yourselves, what separates the top guy at my firm or the guy that I'm sitting next to that's absolutely crushing it versus someone like me, where I just got into the insurance world and I don't really know much about sales. I don't really know much about insurance. And I'm trying to see what the difference is. Is it leads? Is he just better than me? Is he just smoother? Does he just lie better than me? It's a little bit deeper than that when you actually sit down and have a conversation with these type of people, because again, they're just wired different. You guys have to look at it as far as training your mind for success. Your mind needs consistent training. Just like if you were an NBA player, you got to get your practice shots during practice, and then you have to, if you really want to be good at it, like Steph Curry, if you really want to be good at it, like Kobe, like LeBron James, like Kevin Durant, you have to stay after practice and also get up shots as well. It's like learning an instrument. If you want to become the best at your craft, you want to become the best saxophone player, it's not just going to your lessons and then going home. If you want to ride a bike, lift weights, it's all one when you're looking at your mind. Now, a lot of people skip over this part and they don't really help their mindset because they just look at it as, if I have leads and if those leads are coming in, then I'll close them. What ends up happening is you'll hear the same phrase, and I can't tell you how many times I've heard this phrase from agents where, well, as long as I can get them on the phone, I'm going to close them. I just can't get them on the phone. You and 95% of insurance agents all say the same thing. You have to understand success comes from deliberate practice and continuous improvements. What do I mean by that? What do the elements of a top producer look like? So first, if you have control and ownership. So you have to understand that you have control for every single day. That means good and bad, because I promise you, top have bad days as well. They have days where they sometimes don't sell anything. Your mindset determines your outcome. Meaning, if you're going into the day, and this has happened to me in my early days so many times where, I'm not going to close anybody. That appointment won't pick up. It's, they can't afford it. What do you think is going to happen? Chances are you're not going to close it. They're not going to be able to afford it. And they're going to ghost you, right? You're speaking it into existence. And that's all going to reflect making your mindset worse and worse throughout the day. Success is a result of deliberate practice, not chance. Meaning, if manifestation is a big thing in this sphere, and I'll touch a little bit on that later in the module as well. But you have to understand that to want to be a top producer and to want to be at the best of your craft, you have to envision it first. You have to understand that no matter how many people ghost you, unless it's a technical issue, then that way we can go into it. But realistically, if you have 10 appointments, you're going to get 4 to 5 of them to show up. Goal is you close 2 to 3 of them. So if you have half of that amount, if you have 5 appointments, and let's say, for example, 3 of them are show and then 2 can't afford it, and you're mad you only close 1 for the day, that you're looking at it the completely wrong way. I talked to hundreds of top producers, a lot of them that came from my team as well that I was able to develop, and all of them have the same mindset. They don't care who they're going up against on the leaderboards. They don't care what the competition looks like, because they know if they perform to their absolute best, nobody's going to be able to mess with them. And that's what I mean when it comes to your mindset. Now, how do you do that, right? Because a lot of times people are like, well, I feel like I'm that. It's not something that you feel. It's something that you are on a consistent basis. Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to build the right environment. What does that look like? You surround yourself with positive people. Choose your circle carefully. And again, I'll give you guys a quick story about this as well. remove negative influences. Remember, misery loves company. So when I first started in the insurance world, I didn't have any systems that I was attached to, and this was during the COVID time. So we were a little remote, but when we got back in, I was sat next to two individuals. For the sake of this example, let's call them John and Adam. Now, these guys were agents that have been there for a few years now, and they were fond of more of the culture than they were elevating themselves within the industry, and always had an excuse on why they didn't get promoted, why they weren't able to level up. I'm sure you guys have met people like this in your job where it's everybody else's fault but their own. And for me, again, being a 23-year-old kid out of college, I didn't know any better. I didn't know that they didn't have their best interest, because at the time, I just looked at it as they were sitting me next to people that knew what they were doing. Well, come to find out, I befriended one of them, started hanging out with them, and eventually I had leaders and my upline started telling me, hey, if you want to get to that next level, if you want to become a top producer, you have to stop hanging out with so-and-so, or Adam for this example. Now, I was like, oh, what did he's a cool guy. Like, why are you guys hating on this guy? And come to find out, eventually, once I started elevating myself and I started separating myself from this individual, is when I start to see my success growing and growing and growing. And I owe it all to the individuals that told me, hey, you got to remove those individuals that are not going to be on that same wavelength as you, or are looking to accomplish the same goals that you're looking to accomplish. Because if I didn't get promoted, I knew that I wasn't going around saying it was other people's fault. And so that's what I mean in my specific example when I say you have to remove negative influences, because those people are just going to weigh you down. You have to be on the same wavelength. I don't care how close of friends you guys are. If they're not looking to accomplish what you want to accomplish, it's going to be utter failure for you. Create a success-oriented environment. So a lot of people do this differently. Some people like to meditate. Some people have motivational posters, educational audiobooks, podcasts, music. I know the vibration music is key in a lot of people's day-to-day routine as well. Professional appearance. Again, I'll give you guys another scenario here. I mean, professional environment in something that's a phone, a call center kind of environment or an office job seems a little bit silly sometimes, because you're like, oh, well, they can't see me. Why would I need to dress up for them? You guys have to understand, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you'll have confidence, and that all goes into your mindset when you're hopping on the phone. I'll again give you guys a key phrase that my mentor told me one time when I was new and I was an agent. He told me that, hey, when you hop on the phone with these people, you have to look at it as you're in this big executive chair, CEO, making all of the shit. That's how you have to approach this, because again, if you're not about it as if you're the boss and you're just going in and you're like, well, I hope I close someone today, everything, your entire energy is off as soon as you wake up, decide what your outfit is for that day. And so again, just a quick reflection point for you. Assess your current environment. What do you guys think needs to change for you to surround yourself around like-minded people and or create a success-oriented environment? Now that we have that out of the way, embracing challenges. And so I'm first to kind of explain this to you guys. Welcome to struggle. Anybody can smile when things are going well. True growth happens during challenges. And so during my time as a insurance agent, I lost two close people to me. And I don't say this in terms of to just get it out there. It's really to understand that, look, the business stuff, I mean, when I was able to understand that there's things bigger in life, when you look at it from a life perspective and you're still, breathing, and you're able to kind of go things on a day-to-day basis where it will always get better. I mean, a wise friend told me as well at the job that people will always be in need of insurance. Insurance is never going away. People will always be looking for it. And so don't let that one insurance moment or business moment, someone not taking a call or someone goes to an appointment, don't let that be the reason that you're all of a sudden all out of sorts. Because I promise you, out there in the real world where real life things are happening, like people losing their lives, people going homeless, I promise you it can get a hell of a lot worse. And that's just the mentality that I was able to help cope with throughout the time of me selling insurance. And that's what helped me align with, look, Everyone's going to make mistakes. If you're able to learn from your own mistakes, and even better that, and this is what I was something I was really good at, other people's mistakes, that's what's really going to help me from a lens of getting to point A to point B, and point B being, of course, the level of success that I was looking to get at. And so learning from the people that have been there, and even like in that example I told you guys, the friend that had been there for a while, that had not got promoted and was blaming others, I learned from him. You know, you can learn from people that have been there longer than you. You can learn from individuals and say, look, I know I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it, especially when people that are more successful than me are telling me what he did wrong and why not to hang out with them. Remember, guys, 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. Success comes from identifying and focusing on these key activities. And so that's why mindset, again, is such a big thing for me, because it's something that you're constantly working on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month level. And it even far outweighs just your day-to-day insurance world as well. Lesson 2, business owner versus employee mindset. So this is really one of those things that everyone wants to always know about when it comes to your mindset. So the difference between thinking like a business owner versus an employee, when you kind of look at it from a side-by-side comparison, you kind of look at it and you're like, well, you know, the business owner has certain things and the employee mindset has certain things. But when you jump into a role that's 100% commission and or there's commission related to it, commission, means you. And Lesson 2, business owner versus employee mindset. So again, when you kind of look at this and you're looking at the clear distinction that can transform your sales career, you have to understand that thinking like a business owner in a role that's commission-based, whether it's full commission, 50% commission, or any commission assigned to it, versus employee mindset, will make or break whether or not you're a six-figure earner, if not multiple six-figure earner. And so when you're looking at these two mindsets and you're comparing them side by side, here's what to take into consideration. So with the business owner mindset, right? Well, actually, let's start with the employee mindset. When you look at the employee mindset, a lot of times you're focused on stability and routine, doing the same thing over and over again. You prefer security over growth, right? So if there is a risk option for you, you're really hesitant to jump on board with that. You will follow established procedures and you rely on directions from others. So just like an employee would at a normal 9-to-5 job, you're waiting on direction. You're waiting on someone to tell you what to do. You're waiting on someone to give you the routine for you to follow that. And so for you to really break through and make an income that's considered 1% or your top 10% of the United States, you're not going to get there on an employee mindset. And if you do, it's going to take you a lot longer than it would from a business owner mindset, which again, you're focused on growth. You're focused on business ownership. You're focused on taking initiative. You don't care what the risk comes with it. You seek opportunities proactively. You're ready to change and you take full ownership. And so when you first start an insurance, job, you have to be an employee. And you're like, wait, but I thought you just said, well, you have to be an employee from the sense you don't know enough material. You don't know the lingo. You don't know a lot of how the insurance world operates for you to walk in and start saying, I'm a business owner, I'm a business owner, I'm a business owner. And so what I would say is during your 13-week trial period, or whether it's 26-week period where you're getting your feet wet, you're closing deals, and you're learning from mentors above you, what I would say is follow the employee mindset. And the fact that once you're able to notice that, hey, there is a route for me to take a risk, whether it's finding a new way to follow up with individuals, finding a new referral program, something that will separate yourself from the crowd once you're out of that training period. Because the problem is, if you come in and you start trying to reinvent the wheel out the gate, a lot of the issues that you run into, because you're starting to do things your own way, it's going to be very difficult for people to help you and say, oh, no, this is how you do it, when you're trying to create your own roadmap and you are starting to get stuck. So I would always urge in the first 3 to 6 months of you jumping on board in the insurance world to learn from your mentors, go through the trainings, and then from there, once you have that ability to kind of start doing things your own way, that's what I always told my agents to do. Look, from the first 3 to 6 months, just follow what we tell you to do so that your numbers and metrics don't look as rubbish as they are because you decided to do things your own way. But once you get to that point where you're able to understand what it is that you're doing, and now it's just about getting volume in front of you. Then start to adopt that entrepreneur mindset or that business owner mindset for you. Now, when you talk about financial impact between the differences, or just even understanding money from a business owner standpoint, this was another huge area that separated the crowd, because this is now, once you become an established agent in the insurance world, you can focus, the business owner at least, can focus on building assets, investment mentality, thinking about now what they're going to do with their money, how that money is going to return them into making a long-term wealth, production-based thinking. And they understand that, look, I can very well invest this money into leads, $200, $300, even $500, and I could maybe not close anything for a few weeks. I'm not scared to put more money back in because I know eventually it will yield that return. Whereas the employee mindset is operating more on a check-to-check mindset, expense mentality, short-term thinking, hourly wage. I mean, the big thing with the employee that I always had to worry about is that because you're in a role that has commission into it, sometimes if you're not able to, again, mindset wise, if your mindset is not consistent on a week to week basis, matching your work ethic, it becomes very difficult then at that point to then look at it and say, oh, look, I just made, a $2,000 check. I'm going to put money back into leads, when maybe you didn't follow that same principle of what got you the 2,000 check the week prior. And so it becomes very difficult once you've adopted this mentality to look at it and say, oh, I made $2,000 this week. Now I can finally, save $2,000 in my bank account. But now you're not focusing on how to elevate your business. You're looking on how to keep things stagnant. And the insurance world, you always want to make sure that you're elevating, because again, volume is going to be your biggest obstacle. And a real life example, and you guys can see this on my website as well, but Joseph Rios, he was one of the testimonials that ended up going from 20, 30,000 a year to over 200,000 a year in income by following the system. But again, even in the months where he increased his residual income from 10,000 to 16,000, that was just him being able to, again, understand that he has to invest more into his lead platforms and being able to invest in his own closing abilities to be able to scale his income. You don't just get that by just staying the same and not making any changes over time. Lesson 3, how to stay motivated and handle rejection. And so now you're building up the mental resilience. You're embracing the struggle. You have to understand, again, that challenges are normal. Understand that difficulty breeds growth, and maintain that perspective during these tough times. And so what I always say in these instances is that I had agents always come to me, and like I even told you guys my scenario where I lost 2 loved ones close to me during my time, early time as well, my first year in insurance, is that everybody will have life happen to them. You are not, immune to the outside world penetrating, whether it's your girlfriend breaking up with you, a loved one, pet, whatever that is. Life will always try and get in the way of your business and your growth as an individual. And so for me, during that time, what helped me, to be honest with you guys, is that I was able to stick close to friends within the business that had gone through the same tribulations that I had, meaning losing loved ones, and just leaning on them for the advice, them what's next after this, and being able to assess, am I going to be okay? And understanding that, look, if I'm able to persevere through these hard times, not let it penetrate my work, anything else that I walk through, whether it's business or outside of the business, will be a piece of cake to me. That's how I was able to handle it and move past it, and almost use it as fuel that kind of, led me to get my future success that I did in the years to come. And so how do you do that? Right? Because everybody processes things differently. Everybody has emotions differently towards different things. There's 2 ways you can do it and create that sustainable motivation. So 1, you have internal motivation, and 2, you have external motivation. Now, for internal motivation, this is obviously from within. You have clear personal goals. You understand your why, and you're self-accountable. And so what that means, again, internal motivation. So clear personal goals, sometimes people have goals that they set for themselves. And I used to do this when I was interviewing people, and I would ask them pretty much these 3 questions and asking them, hey, I have clear personal goals of what I'm looking to accomplish. My why is I want to provide a better, income for my family and provide for my family. And 3 is I am able to hold myself accountable to be there on time. But the thing about internal motivation that a lot of people miss is nobody is holding you accountable to these things but yourself. So this is really your discipline to yourself, and how much these 3 things that you just said are important to you are able to be important to you. And for me, what helped me, like I said, use that as fuel, was that I understood that now that those people were no longer with me, that became my why, right? Doing it for the people that are no longer here, that can be a strong why. Doing it for your loved ones that have seen the worst of the worst, that can be your why. Holding yourself accountable to understand that nobody will pick you up from this. Nobody. The older that you get, the more you realize nobody is coming to save you. I don't care who you are. And then having those clear personal goals that when you are doing things that you do not want to do, getting up early, closing deals late, you're doing it for the reasons that you mentioned to yourself. You're making it a point to yourself. When you have external motivation, this is going to be the complete opposite. These are going to be your success stories, your mentor guidance, your team support, achievement recognition. I'm not going to lie to you guys and say it's one or the other. I think it's a mix of both that you guys need, because there's going to be times where you start to be like, oh, I don't know if it's even worth it. And you start to doubt yourself. That's when you lean on your team. That's when you lean on your mentors. You ask for advice. Do not be afraid to lean on people that have been there before. Learn from their mistakes. Learn from how to become better than even your mentors from the advice that they give you. Understand that, look, the people that are at the top, and a lot of the individuals that are top producers in the role, and when I say top producers, you have to understand, I'm just talking 6 figures or multiple 6 figures. They probably all have some sort of story that they can go up on that podium and tell you and say, look, this is what I've been through, and this is where I was able to get to. So you have to understand, and even for me, like my mentor had also lost a loved one as well. And so being able to even see that he was able to rebound from it and lead his team at that time was proof to me that I could do it as well. And so that to me is as simple as that external motivation, and leaning on those individuals, your loved ones, your supporting staff is going to be the thing that helps for you carry that motivation from a week to week level. And the last thing here, handling rejection. So learn from every no. Like I said, you're going to have times where, and I had a bunch of presentations that I messed up. Really, I mean, listening to your calls, getting ghosted on appointments. To me, there's always a next deal. There's always a learning. Not one deal is going to make or break. I don't care. Not even 10 deals are going to make or break your career. But learning from every single one. And I always made a point to myself that I would never make the same mistake again. Meaning if I messed up on a ghosted call because I, didn't confirm it through a Calendly link, I knew that I was never going to get another missed call again or missed appointment because of a Calendly link. And so learn from the best way that I would say to do this is listen to your calls, listen to your pitches, and see what you could have done better. And there's always something, even if you close them, there's something that you could have done better. Sit next to the people that are doing better than you and realize, and take a notepad. I did this all the time. Take a notepad and just write on their techniques, certain words, phrases that you can implement into your pitches. Transform every time that you get rejected into what you could have done better. An action point here, document your last 3 rejections and your lessons learned as well. Lesson 4, daily routine for success and avoiding those mental traps. Now, as far as structuring your day for success, what I figured worked best for not only myself, but for agents as well, is working in focused blocks. And at most, I would say 5 hours in blocks is when I typically see the best production in the mornings and in the afternoons get accomplished. This also helps you balance your professional time as well as your personal time as well. And it allows you to focus on your actions and goals and not just the time that's spent. So I'll give you an example. So you come in the morning, and this was me actually, so I guess this would be my example. Come in the morning and you go from 5 a.m. Pacific time to 10 a.m. and your goal is to set 3 appointments for the day. 3. You'll come in And sometimes you'll work past the 10, sometimes it'll take you before that point. But just being able to be focused and know that you have those 5 hours to set those 3 appointments for that point will make you a lot more focused than just messing around and fucking off for 5 hours straight, right? Because if you, and that goes back to the employee mindset of just working for hours and not working for a production level. Same thing goes when you come in the afternoon. Let's say your goal in the afternoon is you have 4 appointments, your goal is to close 2 of them. So now you're going to take your time on those presentations within that 5 hour time frame and be able to understand that, look, I actually have appointments that need to be closed during that time frame. And just setting that goal for yourself makes you more and more conscious of the time that you have in that time frame. Because if you look up and you say, oh my God, it's 7 o'clock and I haven't set any appointments, or 11 a.m., don't go to lunch. Your goal has not been accomplished, right? Just work through it until you understand that, hey, look, you're not an hourly employee anymore. You're working off commission, and you have to transform your mind. You have to change your mindset into believing that. Energy management. So, this works hand in hand, because now you're like, okay, well, how do I have the energy to kind of keep, locked in 5 hour blocks throughout the day? Naps are crucial. Power naps, 30 minutes to reset your body, to reset your mind. Proper nutrition. So if you're eating like shit, if you're not hydrating your body, if you're not going to the gym in your break times, not doing any sort of physical activity, you will crash and burn. I mean, this is just inevitable. I don't know anybody that powers off of, junk food and processed food and then sits in a chair for 10 hours and and produces insurance at a high level. It just doesn't happen. Feed your brain good things, right? I mean, coffee is good to keep your mind alert. But as far as the gym and power naps, to me, from my time, is what I saw working the best to just be able to break out of the monotony of the appointment setting processes. And that allows to not only make sure that you're getting the proper physical activity that you need, just even outside of insurance. But even when you're coming back in for that second 5 hour block, you're more refreshed now. You probably fed yourself something nutritious, and you're back at it again, looking to close up 2 or 3 more deals before the day ends. And so, gym, less processed foods, physical activity, or power naps. I wasn't much of a power nap guy. I was more of a physical activity guy, but figure out what works best for you and implement that as well. Avoiding mental traps, imposter syndrome, recognize it's common, document achievements, and focus on progress, not perfection. Seek mentor support. So imposter syndrome kind of worked a little bit in my favor, if I'm being honest with you guys, and maybe you guys can adopt this mentality as well. But week on week in the insurance world, because that's how we got paid and that's how we were, our weekly numbers were progressed. I kind of looked at it as like anything that I had done the week prior, as soon as the Friday hit, and that's where our week would reset, I looked at it as like, if I don't do what I did last week, people are going to know I'm a fraud. People are going to know that I didn't accomplish what I said I was going to accomplish. And honestly, that worked for me with the schedule that I had, and doing that on a week-to-week level process. I didn't really look at the whole big picture from like a whole, I'm going to do this in a year's time. I just looked at it as every week I had to basically do what I did the week prior. And otherwise, they would all know that I'm a fraud and I was not the top producer that I made myself out to be. And that's kind of what helped my mind progressing. Maybe you guys are a little bit different. Maybe you guys need to see the big picture, but just understand that when I talk to agents and when I had a lot of people come into my office and they say, oh, I don't know if I can do this anymore, I would pull up their last 6 months or their last 3 months, and I would point to a lot of the good weeks that they had. So whether they made $3,000 a week, $4,000 a week, and I would say, look, you did it here. What's the difference now and why you're not able to accomplish that, right? So just show them that the peaks, and understand that you've hit peaks before, that when you don't hit those peaks, sometimes you'll compare yourself to those peaks and be like, well, I'm a fraud. I don't know how I didn't do it. And whatever the case is, just understand that, again, sometimes if you're not able to keep things consistent, and that's why I say consistency is so key, because you can hit a peak, but just understand that peak does not outweigh the consistency. I would rather have somebody that, makes $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000 a week consistently than someone that makes $5,000 one week and then goes zero the next 3 weeks, right? And that's just because, again, it says it's easier said than done, but it's the consistency and the mindset and the approach comes before actual success. Meaning, if you're able to implement that and put the groundwork in and understand that you're blocking all these things out, you might not see the success. I'm gonna be honest, you might not see the success immediately, but as far as building the foundation, understanding that it will come, something that once you are looking at it and once you understand that, hey, I've had achievements, I'm going to continue to progress on those achievements versus, oh, I didn't get it this much. And you can't criticize every achievement you have because then otherwise you'll never be satisfied, right? Goal setting framework, and that's another thing that helps as well, is documenting your goals. Written goals increase achievement by 42%. Weekly progress reports boost success by 76%, and focus on the vital 20% that produces 80% of the results. So again, just to kind of overall go over the daily routine success components, you have your morning preparation, right? So how are you feeding your body? Are you getting coffee in the morning? If you're not a coffee guy, are you getting energy drinks? If you're not neither, are you just alert in the morning? Priority settings, what are you prioritizing in the morning? What are you blocking out as far as activities? What time are you going to the gym? If you are going to the gym or getting your physical exercise, review and go over any adjustments that need to be made based off of if you have appointments or if you're not hitting your appointment goal, and then plan for the next day. You have to understand that you must do what others won't to live a life that others can't. And that's it as far as this module is concerned. Again, the goal is to understand that your mindset at this moment might not be exactly where it needs to be at, or maybe you're sharp and you're rock solid and this was review for you, but just understand that, hey, if you want to be a top producer and you want to live a life that, again, comes with making $10,000, $15,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month, understand things are going to have to change. And that starts with your mentality.